This is the Berman Method podcast featuring Dr. Jake Berman and physician assistant Jenny Berman. We are here to treat problems and not symptoms. Disclaimer, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and not to treat anyone or to give medical advice. If you are interested in any information that we are giving and would like to use this for yourself, we recommend that you contact your primary care physician or reach out to us and ask us questions about yourself specifically. Enjoy.
Here we go, baby. The Berman Method podcast, where we are David slaying Goliath. Goliath is the corporate medical system, big pharma, the insurance companies, health insurance companies, all insurance companies, really. They do not have your best interests in mind. Profits over patient outcomes every single time, over and over again. And there's another way. All you have to do is ask questions. All you have to do is look a little harder. Don't just take for granted what the quote unquote doctor says. Because we talked about that a couple episodes ago, saying you do have to take with a grain of salt who you're taking advice from.
Right. Correct.
If your goal is to avoid a knee replacement, you probably shouldn't go ask a knee surgeon what his advice is, because he's an expert at replacing your knee, not an expert at avoiding a knee replacement. It's that simple. Me, for example, I'm an expert in helping you avoid a knee replacement. And if I don't think you can avoid it, then I'll say, go to the surgeon, because you got to chop it off and put a new one in there. So again, make sure you question it. Question me, question Jenny, question your doctor, question your parents, question your kids, question everybody until you get an answer that makes sense to you.
Slayed.
We're learning all the young kids lingo right now, aren't we?
Was it the millennials? Or
No,
Gen Z? The Gen Z?
I think that we're technically millennials.
That's true. Gen Z, or are we on like the next generation? I don't know.
IDK, that stands for I don't know. Doesn't
we
matter.
are learning. But it just reminded me because you said we're slaying them. So,
yes.
We're trying to keep up with the times.
Yes, and today we are going to start a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5-part series, not quite sure how long it's going to take us to get through this, on essentially helping you make the decision. Why should you come see us? Why should you not come see us? Why should you go to this mechanic and not that mechanic? It's the same process that we make to make decisions no matter where it is in our life. And we're going to make it as crystal clear as possible. We're going to answer all your questions. And one of the most common first questions we get is, how much is it? Can I afford it? Right?
Right. Yes. Can I afford it? That's the big one.
And I always love that response whenever we start going over pricing structures. And the knee-jerk reaction is, I can't afford that. And I'm going, okay. What does that even mean?
Right. What is the value of your health care, essentially?
Yeah, and it's so ass backwards in America, where we value so many other things other than the flesh vessel that we're living in 24/7. I'm calling our body our flesh vessel because if you look at it, well, let's back up for a minute. So many people say that they truly value their health care, right? I don't know that there's very many people that we've explicitly asked point blank, do you value your health care? And they say no. Mm-hmm. Or do you value your health?
Right. Yeah.
And they say no. So it's like, okay, so you're saying you do value your health care. Could you put it on a hierarchy? Is it something that you value the most?
And how do we know that?
Let's do the answer first. The vast majority of people that we work with over the age of 50, over the age of 60, say that it is one of their most valued things is their health. And it's like, okay, let's do a pop quiz. Let's look at your checkbook. Let's look at your credit card statements. Mm-hmm. And for the last month, the last 30 days, I want you to go in there and categorize and then total the amount that you spent on dinner, on wine, on clothes, new shoes. Gotta have a pair of Golden Goose, right?
The Golden Goose shoes.
Yeah. If you don't know what Golden Goose is, Google it. And if you're not a shoe person, it'll probably make you want to throw up.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Right. Yes.
Car payments, house payments. So again, what was it, 5 or 10 or 15 episodes ago, we're talking about that other podcast that we listened to. And one of the things that I stole from him was this flesh vessel. We are in our flesh vessel, our bodies, 100% of the time, yet we don't even question spending thousands of dollars a month on a car payment or a house payment that we're only in a fraction of our lives.
Right. Right. Especially the car or the house, one or the other, you're not in much. Some people drive for a living, so they're in their car a lot more, but they're in their house very little, and vice versa. You work from home, you're in your car very, very little, but yet you're spending thousands on a car payment.
Exactly. So this is coming back full circle. I can't afford that. Well, really? What can you afford? You can afford to spend $2,000 to $5,000 to $10,000. Some of our clients $20,000 to $50,000 a month on car payments and mortgage payments.
And the insurance that comes along with those two things.
But you don't want to spend a couple $100 a month on your body.
Right. And you get one vehicle to live your life in. You're calling it a vessel. Vehicle could be another, term to use. So you're given one body, one vehicle to live your 80, 90, hopefully 100 years in. How are you treating it versus your car? You're getting the most expensive car, putting the most expensive gas in it that you're going to trade in 5 years. So you're spending all this money on something you're going to get rid of in the next 5 years, maybe a few more, a few less, but yet you're not spending that same amount of time or energy or money on the one body you get that you have to live in your whole life.
I love it. And here's a perfect analogy. So the last truck that I had before this one was a 2006 Chevy Silverado, and I love that truck. Absolutely loved it. I would have driven it till the wheels fell off of it if it weren't for Jenny helping me understand that because it was only an extended cab, not a crew cab. She's like, this isn't, and it was only a 3-door, right?
A 3-door, yeah.
She's like, this probably isn't the best vehicle for babies and car seats.
Right. Yes.
So I ended up selling that truck 2 months before Stella was born. But anyways, I took care of that truck like it was going to last me forever. I changed the oil and the oil filter and the air filter. I had the high-end air filter on it. I changed the differential fluid, the transmission fluid. I personally rotated my tires every 5,000 miles. I did all of the work on this truck myself. I changed the plugs and the spark plugs and the wires and the coil. I did all of these things because I wanted this truck to last forever. Now, the thing that we've got to remember is my car insurance didn't pay for any of those things to get done.
Right.
And that's what we've got to remember. Health insurance and car insurance, they are there for a catastrophe, a catastrophic event. You total your car insurance will pay for it. You have a massive heart attack or a stroke, health insurance will pay for it. Health insurance is not going to pay for you to go get your gut health checked.
Right.
They're not going to pay for you to do preventative medicine in the PT clinic downstairs with me.
Right.
They're not going to pay for these things. They're going to wait for the tires to fall off, and then they might think about paying for it if they deem it's medically necessary.
Correct. Yes. And that's the thing is, what do they consider medically necessary? And I know many people have endured that problem where they've had an event and their insurance is saying, nope, wasn't medically necessary, so we're not going to pay for it. And then they have to pay for it anyways, when they could have just done potentially some preventative care to prevent that large of a hospital bill. But regardless, what we're coming back to is your insurance is not going to pay for your maintenance. It's not going to pay for you for any preventative type medicine like Jake mentioned. So your nutrition counseling, your gut healing, your reducing your inflammation, decreasing your risk of autoimmune disease for your some of the physical therapy that you're talking about too, the strengthening, the flexibility.
Look at it. Here's a black and white example. Health insurance has reimbursed for physical therapists to perform ultrasound for 30, 40 years. Ultrasound is anecdotal at best. There is no scientific research behind ultrasound that says that it works 100% of the time to achieve XYZ. Yet health insurance will pay for it because it's just one of those things that kind of they deem medically necessary. However, Shockwave, which we currently have, which does have black and white evidence-based research behind it, they pretend like it doesn't even exist.
Right.
It's like, what?
Yeah, it's silly. So the point of this is you're spending thousands. When you look at your bank statement, the amount that you go out to eat and the dinners that you're spending, some of you are going out for dinners where your bill costs more than one visit at physical therapy or the wellness clinic for one dinner. But yeah, you're telling me that you can't spend that amount of money over a month of visits at the clinic
to make sure that you can keep going out to dinner.
Correct. And enjoying your friends and having a quality of life and picking up your grandchildren, not rushing to the bathroom all the time.
Exactly. So let's talk about some more explicit examples. Can I afford it? Can I not afford it? Let's talk about some things that drives the cost up. There are some clinics in town, some PT clinics, some health and wellness clinics in town that are more expensive, and there's some others that are cheap, not as expensive. So let's talk about what is the biggest difference. The easiest one right out of the gate is that the health clinics that accept most insurances are going to have a decreased quality of care for one reason and one reason only. Because health insurance only reimburses a fraction of what that clinician bills it. And because of that, they have to see 3 to 4 patients an hour in a PT clinic, 10 to 15 to 20 in a doctor's office clinic, just to make the business viable so that it doesn't go out of business. So when you're seeing this many patients an hour, it is not physically possible to provide one-on-one quality, one-on-one care. Right. It's just not possible.
Right.
I mean, think about it with kids. If you got 4 kids, you're not going to be able to give all 4 all of your attention all of the time.
Right. That's exactly right. And for, with the physical therapy world, that's pretty easy to understand, where if they have 4 patients an hour that they're seeing, that means at a minimum, you're getting 20 minutes of their time, 25 minutes of their time, right? No, less than that, 15 minutes of your time. I can't do math. So 15 minutes of your time you're getting from that physical therapist if you're in the clinic 1 hour and they have 4 patients that hour, you're getting 15 minutes out of that 60 minutes of their care. However, that may not even be one-on-one attention. They may still have 2 of you within the clinic at the same time. In addition, what does 15 minutes get you? That's barely long enough for you to tell them how your week went. And now they're like, okay, time for you to go see the tech, and I got to move on to the next person.
I'm so happy you just said that, because it is very common with my sessions in the PT clinic that I don't even put my hands on somebody for 20 to 30 minutes, because we're having a conversation about how the last session went, how the time between the last session and this session went. Like, this is all information that is going to guide me on today's intervention. If I don't have the time to talk to you about it, how in the world am I supposed to know what the best intervention for today is?
Right.
I can't. And that's why it's cookie cutter. That's why you follow this generic protocol that is one size fits some. Today is day 3 of your back pain protocol. So these are the exercises you're going to do. And it works really, really well if you are not active to begin with. If you're an active adult, then it's not going to work for you, because it's not individualized enough.
Right. If you're an active adult, you could go online and Google the exercises and do them at home yourself and figure it out. And if it works, great. That's good for you. If it doesn't work, then going to that type of PT clinic is probably not going to be beneficial for you because you need something different. You need the one-on-one care. You need it more personalized for you.
I'm really happy you said that because I can tell you with complete confidence that nobody in my entire career has ever come to me after going to another physical therapist and handed me exercises that they are doing that they could not just simply Google.
Right.
And get off the internet for free and not even have to drive to the clinic. So think about your time versus every exercise I give, every exercise we give in the clinic, it is custom to you. I don't care if it's a squat. If I'm giving you a squat for an exercise, there's one thing, at least one thing that you have to focus on that nobody else is going to have to focus on because it's you. It's your problem.
Well, and that's the other thing is how are you doing these exercises? Is somebody keeping eyes on you 24/7? And, no offense to any techs out there, but they didn't go to physical therapy school. They weren't trained for the biomechanics of these exercises. So they may not be guiding you appropriately on how to do the exercises versus having the one-on-one care with a trained professional is going to make a big difference on your outcome as you go through these exercises.
You're hitting the nail on the head. And that's something that I found in my clinic, hiring different clinicians over the years, where it's like everybody comes into my clinic that I hire with their own certain set of skills. And I think that's great. However, it's not exactly the Berman method. So what we've been working on behind the scenes for the past 18 months, 2 years or so is creating a certification process so that anybody that comes into my world now, whether you are a physical therapist, an athletic trainer, a physical therapist assistant, a personal trainer, doesn't really matter what you are before you come to me. You have to go through the Berman Method certification and become a certified Berman Method movement coach before I just let you free on my clients, the people that are coming and trusting me, my name, my reputation, because there's a certain way that we do things that is unlike anybody else in this town. And we got to make sure that we keep the framework consistent. Now, you can go and do your other things outside of the framework as long as we're following the framework. And that has given us a lot of success. And that's another reason why there are some clinics in this town that are cheap.
Right.
They don't have a framework.
Right. And they don't have the one-on-one. And the same thing is going with the wellness and the nutrition aspect. There are certainly clinics that are less expensive where you can go in once a week, get your semaglutide injection and leave and go on your merry way. But there's also the other clinics that are more expensive than ours. And then there's us that you'll find somewhere in the middle with the one-on-one care. And this comes down to the amount of follow-up that we can provide our patients. So we're seeing you again for your 30-minute, 40-minute, 60-minute visit, just one-on-one, me and you, or you and the dietitian, and really understanding what you're going through, what's happening, your entire medical history from your childhood and how that's impacting your overall health now, looking at this blood testing in depth. So not just the regular 4 general blood tests that your primary care physician will do, but actually looking at 13, 14, 16 different blood tests that are going to impact your health care or your health and how we can help you. But even more than that is the follow-up that we can provide our clients, because we keep it at a lower quantity of overall clients on a regular basis. We can respond to your messages 7 days a week. We can respond to your messages this morning I was answering them at 5 a.m. before I got on the bike for someone who's traveling in the UK right now. So at her time, it was 11 o'clock in the morning. My time, it was very early, but I had the ability to respond to her over the weekend, responding to messages on a Saturday, because we care, because we have the ability to answer you. You're not going to get that in a primary care office.
You're just not. It's not going to happen. And I think we should wrap things up here. with this one story that I've heard many times over the years, and I've heard different variations of different actual price points. However, the overall message is the same. And the message goes like this. There's this ship that breaks down. So like a big cruise ship, a big freighter, a big cruise line or whatever, a big ship, it breaks down. And they try to bring in all these smart engineers to come figure out, why is this ship not working? Why is it broken down? Why is it not running the way that it should? And none of the smart engineers can figure it out. So with a Hail Mary attempt, they call up this really old local mechanic that never really worked on anything sophisticated in his life. And they called him and said, can you come figure out what's going on? So this guy shows up, this old man shows up with a bag of tools like you would see back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. And he's looking around at the motor, looking. And then he pulls a hammer out and he taps on some engine piece. And he goes, all right, give it a try. And it fires right up. Problem's fixed. So then that mechanic sends them a bill, sends the ship or the cruise liner a bill for $10,000.
Ouch.
The owner of the ship calls up the guy and says, what's going on here? Can you send me an itemized bill? How do you send me? Why'd you charge me $10,000 for this bill or for this work? So he goes, sure, no problem. Hangs up the phone and sends him an itemized bill. And it says, tapping on engine, $100. Knowing where to tap on the engine, $9,900.
Right.
So that's what you have to understand is you're really not paying for time. You're really not paying for anything more than our expertise, our experience, because Jenny and myself, we're doing a lot behind the scenes for you, not necessarily for us. We're constantly investing in ourselves so that we can give back to you and provide a better service. We are constantly trying to raise the bar for ourselves so that we can help you get to the result faster, more painlessly and efficiently. So you're paying us for all that time so that we can get you to the finish line as fast as possible so that you avoid all of these headaches. I mean, how many people have you and I both run into over our careers of opening or running our own businesses who started with us, had success, and then for whatever reason, years later, went to the cookie cutter version, was not successful, and ultimately comes back to us and says, yeah, I was cheating on you.
Right. And it didn't work. Yes. So I'm back. Yeah, for sure.
There's your homework right there. If you think you really, truly value your health over going out to dinner, over your car, over your house payment, go do the simple test. Look at what your credit card statement says. And I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if you're spending more money on your health on a monthly basis than you are on
Amazon.
Amazon, dinner, wine, car payment, mortgage payment.
Right. Like us, we woke up to 3 boxes on our front doorstep this morning from Amazon from our overnight delivery. But in our defense, it was mostly health food snacks.
Yeah.
And dog food.
Yeah, dog food and health food snacks.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, protein bars. So anyways, look at your bank statement. See where you're putting that money. Are you spending it on healthy food options? Are you spending it on the expertise of your physical therapist or your gut healing specialist, on your autoimmune specialist? Not in network autoimmune specialist for most of them. And do you really value your health?
Or are you spending thousands of dollars a month on a car that is not going to be in your driveway 5 years from now? But your body, you're stuck with that thing. Till death do us part.
Right.
You get one.
Literally, till death do you part. So, all right. Yeah. Happy Monday, everybody. Have a great week. Share this podcast with someone, with anyone, everyone. Share it everywhere.
Yes, there you go.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Send us your questions. We're going to go through a couple more of this. We'll have this series going, and we'll try to answer all the questions that you may not know that you actually had.
Perfect. Ciao for now. Thank you for subscribing on your social media and podcast platforms to the Berman Method. Dr. Jake Berman with Berman Physical Therapy and Jenny Berman, Physician Assistant with Berman Health and Wellness. You can find more information on our website, www.bermanpt.com for physical therapy, bermanpt.com/wellness for the health and wellness. You can also find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and on your podcast platform. So be sure to follow us, like us, subscribe to us. And if you would like any further information, definitely visit our website and reach out to us. You may also find our free reports on the websites as well, where you can download this free information for yourself. Have a great day.